Hello everyone, it's Uncle Destiny here with you, and it's time to see what the month of June holds for everyone. That is going to be the solstice, as well as the start of our what's known as the eclipse season. So there's going to be a lot of celestial energy getting shifted up, as well as our earthly energy with the seasonal change. So let's go ahead and get the ancestors and the spirits in and see what they have to say. And let us hope that June is going to be a better month than most of this year has been. Alrighty, so forgive the background noise, there's a fan blowing right at the moment. So, what have we got for the month of June? So let's go ahead and start with where we get with the dice, which sets the theme for this, which is the fifth house, which is romance, play, self-expression, creativity. Now that seems like an odd number of things that are going on for the month of June compared to everything that's happened since then. And I want to remind you of something that I think I said in the reading for the year, is that this year, while it didn't focus specifically on the traumas that we've been happening in New York and Milwaukee, Minnesota, I did say that the biggest point of this year was going to be about the choices that we make. And what is the energy that we are going to be moving forward with? Are we moving forward in such a way that we are proving that we are capable of being, or are we going to be making all these choices that ultimately lead to more of our downfall? So, with what we're getting here with this, with the month, the fifth one, we're dealing with what are we in love with? Now, romance is not just, oh, you find your lover or your perceived soulmate. We are in love and romance with a number of things at any one given time, and expressing multiple types of love. Not just romantic love, but the love we have for our family members, the love we have for our pets, the love we have for society as a whole. That's part of the romance that we're going to be at work here. Equally, we're looking at the sense of play. And play takes on many facets. Not just the idea of what a kid does to bounce a ball across the field or to play a game of, let's say, Monopoly. We play in many forms with the ideas that we are dealing with the goals that we want. We play with that idea, we fantasize. So what are you playing with in this next month? And that also leads into both the self-expression and the creativity. To solve so many of the things that have happened in these last months, we need both greater self-expression but also creativity. And especially ones that we don't stifle, because it's the stifling of it that leads us to where we are here. Now, as you can see from the way the bones fell, we only have 2 of the main bones, as opposed to the usual 3. So what does this mean? Well, let's take a little closer look at that. So this bone is about self. This one is about work. Now, not our usual sets saying that this is self and this is work. Work is going to continue on as it is. It has some support bones around it, but it's not the focus of this period of time. This period of time is about self, and this leads back into that sense of romance, play, self-expression, and creativity. Now, with where it's positioned with the shell, and it is turned inward. So, we're just going to pause here for a moment because we've got someone's car going off. The joys of apartment living. So, we've got the shell, which is turned inward. So we're looking at the stuff about inward materials. What is our thoughts? What is our energy? What is the internal work that needs to happen in loving ourselves? Not because many people, especially those who deal with depression and self-loathing, deal with the idea that they are not lovable. And even the aspect of anxiety can be turned as a way of that I'm unlovable because of my anxiety. But this is, again, ultimately about what's going on the internal measure. Much of everything that has happened in these last several months have forced people to stay in and be confronted with elements of who they are. And do they like themselves? Do they love themselves? Can they play with themselves and what they can be versus what they have been? Can they now recognize how to express themselves and be more creative than what they have been? And this is part of the internal struggle, and it's supported by spirit in this. This is about the internal experience of who we are as people, not just individuals, but as a collective group. Much has happened with the deaths that have happened, and the what might have been described as falling to fear, but ultimately could have resulted in death. And the question is, as much as people have been brought into the idea of what does it mean for social questions of worth, it is also about your personal worth. Did this person really think so truly of only themselves? Or was the social self that they felt tied to something that didn't connect with the rest of humanity? So this is really much more about the internal work. And with that internal work also comes our connection to the ancestors. Because if we are not moving in basis with them, and if we are not listening to the ones who wanted to see the world thrive versus the ones who want to see the world burn, what do you think they're going to give us? More misery? More delight? Or the aspect of continuance? Because this is fundamentally what we're looking at. Our ability to continue to live on this earth, let alone live together. And that's what we've got here with all the support bones. And as you can see, we've got the broken rib bone here too. This one is broken and it's point, but the break is heading much more towards ourselves. And we have to break and stop looking at the crutches that we have been living with that perpetuate us from being connected to others, from seeing other people's humanity. Now I say that again, and I pause there, for seeing other people's humanity. The ones who have lost themselves in fear, the ones who are in this fixed mindset that they are only going to lose, aren't looking at humanity. And as much as I know there's the goal of we want them to change and so forth, the question is, do they have any reason to change? Do they love themselves enough to change? Now that's a question no person or group can answer for another. That's something that someone else does. And if that is the case, we have to let them be as they are. But we also don't mean we empower them to continue to live in the misery and have that misery affect us. Recently, as I was talking with a client who was a parent, he was a parent, and they're struggling with trying to take care of themselves, and they're a single parent with their child. They said, well, yeah, it's better to stick with the devil you know. And I said, no, you don't want to stick with the devil you know. You want to stick with the devil you don't know. Yes, you know how to survive with that devil that you know. You know what it takes. You've proven that. But at the same time, the devil you know knows how to abuse you, knows how to take advantage of you, knows how to make you suffer. And frankly, it's got no reason to stop abusing you. The devil you don't know knows none of that and may never abuse you. Doesn't mean there might not be some discomfort in working with them, but it doesn't mean that they can abuse you the same way the other can. And I think that's one of the reasons why we've got the quartz piece over here right at the edge, because it's the edge of both what is known and what is unknown. And consider, how many times did you take the path of unknown, the path of mystery, the path of wonder, and find something great on the other side? Yeah, there might have been some discomfort, but you found so much more. And I like to think that with the way the quartz is pointing up towards the stars there off the reading surface, that there is much more light found there, and found in the times that you have taken strength in yourself to do and go into the unknown. In many cases, do we actually go into romance because we know what's going to happen? Do we know where the romance is going to take us? Is it going to keep us where we are, or is it going to take us to a foreign land? Is it going to give us children, or is it not? Is it going to give us wealth and beauty? Is it going to give us knowledge? We don't know those things, and yet we love to try and find them. And that is the romance that is being called on. That is the sense of expression and creativity. And most of all, the sense of play. One of the prayers that I offer when I make my offerings to the Unkle is that let us, after we have been angry, let us laugh. After we have been sad, let us play. And after we have been afraid, let us wonder. So, I'm asking you, after everything that has been happening and everything that the ancestors and spirits are saying is, have you been angry? Have you laughed? After you have been sad, have you played? And after you have been afraid, have you wondered? Go with the devil you don't know. Go into the mystery. On behalf of the ancestors, on behalf of the Orishas, Loas, and gods, be well, play, laugh, and wonder. Ashe.